Hi, I'm Ian from Leather and Steelcraft. As well as doing the videos just for the custom knife making and sheath making, which I'm already doing, I wanted to do a few videos just to focus on the leatherworking side of things. Because leather, I think, the leatherworking side of things is a very satisfying skill in itself. If you can, it's rewarding as well. If you can take a piece of raw leather, such as this, for instance, which is 7 to 8 ounce vegetable tan leather, and then turn it into something useful, I mean, it's very rewarding. And if it ends up looking nice as well, all the better. I've already shown on my other videos sort of the tooling and the leatherworking that I do have done for some of the sheaths. This is an example of some of the tooling that you can do. I've done cut the shapes into the leather and done some stamping around the outside here, and also done some stitching. I do the stitching slightly differently now because I'm not as happy with that. The stitching I do now tends to be more double loop stitching, which I think looks a little bit nicer. But apart from the knife making side of things, like I was saying, the first leather item, if you like, that I ever made was an arm guard for archery. This was I made it for myself, so it was sort of it was a stenciled in cheetah with some patterning around the outside. It's not brilliant, it was just an offcut of leather that I found and I thought I'd make it. It's got some just elasticated strapping on the back, which is sewn in with some strong cotton thread. It just fits on your forearm here, just so if the bowstring happens to hit your forearm, which it does on occasion, you don't get bruising. And that's why I made it, but it's not brilliant. It's not, as I say, it's my very first piece I ever made. Then my son also took up archery, and the next one I made I think was much nicer. It looks much nicer, you can actually make out the detail much better on it. If I bring it a little bit closer, I asked him what he wanted, he said something with a bear on it, so we've got bears' heads. They're embossed in, and I've painted with leather dye and then gone over the whole lot with a finishing dye as well. So I think that was a much nicer item than my original one. I also, on the archery theme, this is probably about the second thing I ever made, was a quiver. I made that leather quiver, and I was quite pleased with the way that turned out. Because, I mean, bearing in mind, the first one was this piece, then I went up and did this piece. That's actually a Harris Hawk on the oven. That's again embossed, and it's all tooled all around the outside. You've got all the texture of the feathers and everything, so that turned out nicely. Inside there's some deer skin, which actually helps to cushion the sound of the arrows, so it's nice and quiet. So I was quite pleased with that. It didn't take too long, and I think it looks quite nice. I've also gone on to start making wallops. Again, it's a Harris Hawk head. See, there's a theme emerging, which is not brilliant. I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but again, it's tooled in and it's got the texture on, so you can feel it. I think I like the colours. I think they look nice, but I thought going forwards, I mean, again, this isn't brilliant. It's got a lot of finishing that needs to be done. It's a hard cover as well. It's not like your soft wallet. It's actually a hard covered wallet, which is very firm. It doesn't flex much. But it means that you can actually do this tooling to the outside. I'll show you another one which I did recently. I've just done the outside. I haven't actually done the inside to this yet. This is just the outside. But this, if you can see it, is just tooled on the outside. My son said it looks more like an old-fashioned medieval book cover, but it was just an experiment. A lot of this is experimental, just playing around, just seeing what I can make. Seeing what looks nice, what doesn't look nice. So that's one of the nice things about leather. It's just such a nice material to use, and you can do so much with it and make so many things with it. I'm going to be making a messenger bag as well, so I may do a video on that further down the line. This is just some scraps that I was using to play around with different stitching. So you can see this is a black round lace stitch, this is a flat lace stitch, same as used on the knives, and this is just waxed thread. I mean, this doesn't look brilliant, but I was obviously this is just a sample couple of pieces of leather which I've been stitching together in different ways. And again, other bits and pieces, you can make some nice patterns with tooling. It's reasonably easy just to stamp these patterns into into the leather. These aren't brilliant, but again, it's just playing around. It's just playing around and seeing what you can make. Another weird plant type thing with grass at the bottom. These are all patterns which I may advance to move on to something like an actual item I make. I might learn on a scrap piece of leather and then move that on. Okay, well, I mean, that was just... Oh, one more thing I was going to show you, which I did make, I was quite pleased with, was this bag. It's like a medieval pouch, if you like. It's got... it came from... Initially, I made a prototype, which is this. Just like a proof of concept to see what it would look like and how to make it. This is the flap. Like a latch, which opens up. This isn't finished particularly well. It's... the edges aren't very good. The rivets aren't flush inside, but again, it was just a proof of concept, this one. And then I moved on to make this one, which is much nicer. Again, it's got the pattern, it's kind of engraved in and then painted over with dye and then dyed over the top. The finishing is much nicer. I have loops on the back, belt loops, and these so that you could clip on a shoulder strap if you wanted to. And inside this is a pig's suede, which is a nice soft suede. But it's quite a big bag. I mean, you could get quite a bit in there. It's not a bad bag at all. And I was quite pleased with that, the way it came out. And if there's anything that anybody out there wants me to try making, which isn't too ridiculous and over the top, then feel free to post a comment and I'll see about making it. But initially, I'm going to go forwards making a few simple bits and pieces, go into the tooling side of things, the stitching side of things, just keeping it simple and then working up from there. Because I don't think making a specific product like this is how to make a bag, this is how to make this, this is how to make this, is as important as this is how to go about planning your project. This is how to stitch, this is how to start your stitching, this is how to end your stitching. Because your imagination is what fuels what you make. It's just being able to put what's in your imagination down onto the leather and make it look reasonably nice. I think that's the more important art. So okay, well, that's enough about that. That's enough of an introduction. And the next video I'll actually start making something. Okay, thanks very much for watching.